श्रीगुरुभ्यो नमः। वागीशाद्याः सुमनसः सर्वार्थानामुपक्रमे यन्नत्वा कृतकृत्यास्यस्तन्नमामि गजाननं। शारदाम्भोजवदना वदनाम्बुजे सर्वदा सर्वदास्माकं सन्निधिं क्रियात्। प्रमाणनखनिर्भिन्नमहामोहामरारये नमस्कुर्मो नृसिंहाय स्वप्रकाशचिदात्मने। सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्परां। शङ्कारूपेण मच्चित्तं पङ्कीकृतमभूद्यया किङ्करीयस्य सामाया शङ्कराचार्यमाश्रये। प्रह्लादवरदो देवो यो नृसिंहः परो हरिः नृसिंहोपासकं नित्यं तन्नृसिंहगुरुं भजे। श्रीसच्चिदानन्दशिवाभिनव्यनृसिंहभारत्यभिधान्यतीन्द्रान् विद्यानिधीन् मन्त्रनिधीन् सदात्मनिष्ठान् भजे मानवशम्भुरूपान्। सदात्मध्याननिरतं विषयेभ्यः पराङ्मुखं नौमि शास्त्रेषु निष्णातं चन्द्रशेखरभारतीं। विवेकिनं महाप्रज्ञं धैर्यौदार्यक्षमानिधिं सदाभिनवपूर्वं तं विद्यातीर्थगुरुं भजे। अज्ञानाञ्जाह्नवीतीर्थं विद्यातीर्थं विवेकिनां सर्वेषां सुखदं भारतीतीर्थमाश्रये। विद्याविनयसम्पन्नं वीतरागं विवेकिनं वन्दे वेदान्ततत्त्वज्ञं विधुशेखरभारतीं। श्रीमत्पयोनिधिनिकेतनचक्रपाणे भोगीन्द्रभोगमणिराजितपुण्यमूर्ते योगीशशाश्वतशरण्यभवाब्धिपोत लक्ष्मीनृसिंह मम देहि करावलम्बम्। Namaskaram everyone. It's Ashtanga Namaskaras to the Padapadmas of the Ubhaya Jagat Gurus, Sharadamba and Lakshmi Narasimha Swami. Today, on the auspicious occasion of Narasimha Jayanti, as per the Anugraha and the Adesha of the Jagat Gurus, we will be looking at the role that Narasimha Swami has played in Bhagavad Pada's Charitra. So through the course of the Madhaviya Shankaradigvijaya, there are numerous instances where Bhagavad Pada interacts with certain deities, with certain devatas. For example, Bhagavad Pada's Janma itself is clearly with the prasada of Ishvara, who appears to Shivaguru in a dream. Even before that, there was Vrishachala and Vrishachaleshwara. So Shiva appeared as a Swayambhu Linga on a hillock close to Bhagavad Pada's birthplace, close to Kaladi. So right from the beginning we have instances that involve Shiva. In Kashi, the instance with the Chandala wherein Ishvara tests Bhagavad Pada's understanding of Brahman and then commands or gives his anugnya for Bhagavad Pada to go to Badari and write the Prasthanatrayi Bhashya. And then later on in the 15th Sarga, there is an interesting scene wherein Bhagavad Pada refutes the Kapalika Siddhanta. And when that happens, the last Kapalika, his name is Krakacha, the leader of those Kapalikas, his name is Krakacha. So once he sees that his mata has been refuted by Bhagavad Pada, and then when he orders his followers to kill Bhagavad Pada and his Shishyas, the king Sudhanva, the avatar of Indra, as per the Madhaviya Digvijaya, he kills most of the Kapalikas with his bow and arrows, and then only this Krakacha is left. So then what he does is he fills a skull with wine, drinks half of it, uses the mantra of Mahabhairava to invoke the presence of that particular devata. Mahabhairava appears bound by the mantra, and then Krakacha asks Mahabhairava to kill Bhagavad Pada. And then Mahabhairava says, do you want me to kill myself? And then ends up killing Krakacha. So in this way, there are several instances where Bhagavad Pada interacts with Shiva. There are instances where Bhagavad Pada interacts with Devi, most evidently in the Kanakadhara incident, wherein Lakshmi appears and speaks, has a conversation with Bhagavad Pada saying, the people that you wish me to bless, they have not had any punya that will allow them to receive any wealth. So what do you want me to do? So then this kind of conversation happens with Lakshmi Devi. Then with Narayana, there are several instances. So Bhagavad Pada in a very young age asks the Purna Nadi, the river in Kalati, the Purna Nadi, to flow closer to his house so that his mother does not have to walk farther in her old age. Her mother does not have to walk farther to the river. So the Purna Nadi accordingly adjusts its course. So then after Bhagavad Pada takes sannyasa, the whole crocodile incident happens, Bhagavad Pada takes sannyasa and is leaving. In that situation, Bhagavad Pada hears an Akashavani, so an unseen voice, an unembodied voice. And what that Antarvani says is, so there is a Krishna Vigraha, an old Krishnalaya in Kalati. So Bhagavan speaks through that voice and says, you have asked the Purna Nadi to change its course, but now the waves of the Purna Nadi are coming up onto my alaya, onto my residence. So before you leave Kalati and go to the Narmada Nadi, you move my Vigraha to a more secure location. So then Bhagavad Pada moves that Krishna Vigraha to a different place. In the same way, when his mother is passing away, it is first Bhagavad Pada invokes Shiva, and the Shivaganas come. And Aryamba actually gets a bit scared seeing the Trishula, the Bhasma and all of that. So then Bhagavad Pada sends them away and re-invokes the Vishnu. So his mother has darshan of Vishnu, and then the Vishnu Bhattas come, take Aryamba in a Vimana to the Divyadhama Vaikuntha. So in this way, there are several instances through the Digvijaya wherein Bhagavad Pada being, first of all, obviously a Brahmajnani, but not just a Brahmajnani, an Upasaka of the highest order, right? Many of these, as we have seen, are instances where it is Bhagavad Pada's mantra shakti that is being shown. For example, when he calls Vishnu and Shiva to his mother on the deathbed, or when Kanakadhara, when Lakshmi is invoked to confer wealth on the poor lady, or even in the end when Bhairava comes. These are all instances that speak to Bhagavad Pada's mantra shakti. And so we say Sarva Tantra Swatantra, which means one who is adept in all Shastras. But at the same time, right, we also say in the Guru Vandana, Vidyanidhin Mantra Nidhin. So we say that, of course, about Sachidananda Shiva Narasimha Bharati Mahaswami, but that goes for all of the Acharyas in the Parampara. Every single one of the Acharyas in the Parampara are very accomplished Upasakas of the highest order, whether it be in Sri Vidya, Medha Dakshinamurti, Panchakshari, Narasimha, Ganesha, whichever mantra it be. There are instances throughout not just Bhagavad Pada's Charitra, but also of his lineage's Charitra, that shows that this Parampara is this Parampara's Upasana is at a very sublime level. So, keeping that in mind, there are certain instances in Digvijaya wherein Bhagavad Pada's relationship with Narasimha is very prominent. And this is, Narasimha is the only Devata who actually has an entire sarga devoted to himself in the Digvijaya. I mean, of course, Bhagavad Pada is Shiva, so if we take the entire Kavya as being Shiva, right, we say Neta Yatrolla Sadi Bhagavad Pada Sanyo Maheshaha. So in the beginning of the Kavya, Vidyaranya Swami writes, the Nayaka of this Kavya is Shiva, who goes by the name Bhagavad Pada. So if we put aside the fact that this is basically Shiva Charitra, if we look at the stories of the sargas, Narasimha Swami gets the most screen time per se, in that sense that there is an entire sarga, the 11th sarga in its whole is devoted just to one small incident that happened with Bhagavad Pada, Akapalika and Narasimha Swami. And that is said in the 10th sarga, Pranamya Paramatmanam Shri Vidya Tirtharupanam Prajena Shankaradigvijaya Saras Sangrahyate Sputam. So in the 10th sarga, after Bhagavad Pada enters the king's body and then comes back into his own body, the king's soldiers have been ordered to burn any inert bodies so that whichever Mahatma's soul it is that is currently living in the king's body, that Atma will be forced to stay in the body. So the king's soldiers were ordered by the ministers to go around burning any inert bodies they saw. So as part of that, they saw Bhagavad Pada's body and set the sannyasa deha on fire. So at that point, Sapadi Dahana Shantaye Mahantam Naramraga Rupa Madhokshajam Sharanyam Stutibhir Adhika Lalasat Padabhi Tvarita Matoshayad Atmavit Pradhanaha Narahari Kripaya Tataf Prashante Prabalatare Sahutashane Pravishtaha Niragamat Achalendra Kandarantat Vidhuriva Vaktra Bilad Vidhuntu Dasya are the two shlokas that Vidyaranya Swami writes there. So first of all, Sapadi Dahana Shantaye, so immediately Dahana Shantaye, to quell the fire, to subdue the fire, Bhagavad Pada needed immediate protection. So the first Devata that Bhagavad Pada thought of And the devata that Bhagavad Pada chose to pray for the sake of immediate protection, for instantaneous protection, was Naramraga Rupam Adhokshajam Sharanyam. Adhokshaja, Vishnu, who is Naramraga Rupa in the form of Narasimha. And Sharanya, he is fit to be the refuge for everyone. And how did Bhagavad Pada do this? Tudibhihi adhika lalasat padabhihi. He praised Narasimha with words that were exceedingly sweet. And this is where it is said that the Narasimha Karavalamana Stotra came. So the actual name of this stotra is called the Narasimha Karunarasa Stotra. Or sometimes not even Narasimha is added. It is sometimes just called the Karunarasa Stotra. But because the last line of it, the refrain of the last line is Lakshmi Narasimha Mamadehi Karavalambam. Lakshmi Narasimha, give me the support of your hand, or give me your hand as support. So because that is the last line, it became famous as the Narasimha Karavalambana Stotra. And keeping this in mind, several other Karavalambana Stotras have been written. The 32nd Acharya, Vriddha Narasimha Bharati Swami, wrote Venkateshwara Karavalamba Stotra, which also became very famous. In the same chandas, Shri Venkatesha Mamadehi Karavalambam. But in this way, and even in fact other sampradayas, the Ahobalajiyas, for whose Aradhya Devata is also Lakshmi Narasimha there, of course, the Kshetra being Ahobala, one of their acharyas has also written a Lakshmi Narasimha Karavalamba. It is obviously of a different vein. But my point being that this Narasimha Karavalambana Stotra is such a potent stotra, and not just so potent, it is such a prolific stotra that it has inspired other stotras of its own genre. So we see, right, for example, when Kalidasa writes the Megha Duta, the Megha Sandesha Kavya, it inspires several more Duta Kavyas. Suddenly everyone, many people after Kalidasa throughout Samskrita history have written romantic epics wherein one entity is being sent as a messenger to another. In the same way how Kalidasa sent the Megha as a messenger to a beloved, Yaksha sends the Megha to his beloved. In the same way, there is the Hamsa Sandesha, Vedanta Deshika, wherein Rama sends the swan to Sita in Lanka when they are separated. From the mainland of India, Rama sends a swan to Sita. There is Kokila Sandesha, wherein one husband sends a kokila, a cuckoo, to his wife that is in a faraway land. So in this way, and even some social works have also come. There is an epic in Telugu called Gabilam. Gabilam means a bat. So what happens is one poverty-stricken, underprivileged member of a society sends a bat to Kashi Vishwanatha to tell him that, this is my plight in this country. I am suffering. Please look after me. So because Kashi is the heart of India, this poor man sends a bat to Kashi Vishwanatha. So the point being that there are some works of poetry, devotional or otherwise, that are so prolific that they engender copies, not even copies, but more works in the same vein. And that is a hallmark of the excellence of the original work of poetry. So Bhagavad Pada's Lakshmi Narasimha Karavalambana Stotra is one such stotra. So as I said, we call it the Karavalambana Stotra, but its actual name is the Karunarasa Stotra because it is an appeal to the mercy of Narasimha Swami. This is another very beautiful thing because when we think Narasimha, the first word we get is Ugra Narasimha. But the basis of that Ugratva is Karuna. See, for Rama Avatara, Rama took an avatara for a whole host, for an entire country. Right? Rama took form when the entire country needed to be free of Ravana. When Krishna came, that is also a very big canvas. There are so many kings that need to be killed, so many Rakshasas in Bhuloka that need to be killed. And in the same way, whenever Bhagavan takes any other avatara, it is always for a very large canvas. All the devatas have to go and pray. All the devatas have to, take Vishnu, take Brahma and Bhudevi to Vaikuntha. They have to explain everything that is happening. So all of that happens. The same thing happens in Prahlad Charitra also. The devatas, once Hiranyakashipu displaces them out of power, they all go to Vaikuntha and Vishnumurti basically says, we will see, we will postpone, we will table this discussion for a later date. There will be a time in the future when something happens, we will finish him off then. But the Narasimha Rupa was taken for one Bhakta and one Bhakta alone. This Bhakta was not someone that is very old. This Bhakta is not someone that has spent centuries and eons doing tapas. This Bhakta is not someone that is very wealthy and donated Swarna Kavachas and Swarna Gopuras to Narasimha or to a temple. But rather, this Bhakta is a 5-year-old child, a 5 to 7-year-old child, that literally just said Bhagavan is present everywhere. And Bhagavan took upon such a mighty form to protect that child and make his words come true. So the basis of the Narasimha Avatara, the basis of even the ferocity of the Narasimha Avatara is nothing but Kripa, mercy. So the very fact that such an effort was taken by Bhagavan is a testament to the fact that within the ferocity, within the fearsome form that is the lion face and the teeming body with thousands of hands holding thousands of weapons. So underneath all of this lies a very soft heart, which is why later poets have called Narasimha Kripa Kapata Kesarin. They say you are a very deceiving lion, because you appear as a lion, you appear fierce, you appear vicious, but underneath all of that is Kripa. So he is Kripa Kapata Kesarin, some people say. Vedant Veshika says somewhere else. But here, the same thing is happening because Bhagavad Pada understands that, and because Bhagavad Pada, the same as Prahlada, is also a Jnana Bhakta, someone that understands Bhagavan through and through, and someone that understands that Bhagavan, Brahman, is present in every atom of this universe as this universe. He is qualified to call upon Narasimha the same way Prahlada is. Not that other bhaktas are not, but to call upon a devata whose sole purpose is to show that Brahman is Sarvagata, to show that Brahman is Sarvantaryami. It takes, there is a special kind of affinity that a Jnana Bhakta will have. So if we call upon Narasimha, we will call upon Narasimha thinking that Narasimha is a form that is existent within a pillar or in Vaikuntha or in somewhere, and we are calling that devata to help us. But when someone like Prahlada or someone like Bhagavad Pada prays to Narasimha as a Jnana Bhakta, it is with the understanding that Narasimha is present in every atom of this universe and as the universe. Right? There are even some sampradayas wherein they say that Ishvam Vishnu is actually the summation of the Narasimha Tattva. So because Vishnu, he is present within the universe, Vishwam, as the universe. So those two words are enough to qualify the name Narasimha Vapuhu, one whose body is that of Narasimha, or of the form of a man and a lion. So that, keeping that in mind, Bhagavad Pada immediately called upon Narasimha when his physical body was on fire. So Stutibhi Ati Mrudula Lalasat Padabhi, it is in that instance that the Narasimha Karavalambana Stotra was composed. Tvaritam Atoshayat Atmavit Pradhanaha. So to point out that Bhagavad Pada was able to call on Narasimha, or that Bhagavad Pada called on Narasimha rather than another devata, because he is Atmavit Pradhanaha. He is a Brahmajnani of the highest order. So because Bhagavad Pada is such a devotee, Narasimha was an apt choice, because Narasimha Upasana, Vidyaranya Swami writes or quotes Tantra in his Bhashya, Narasimha Brahma Vidyesha Vyakhyata Jnana Siddhaye Turiyavasita Vidya Sakshadatra Pradarshyate, Vidyaranya Swami says. So the worship of Narasimha and the Upasana of Narasimha, particularly that within the Bhagavad Pada Sampradaya, is done for the sake of Moksha Siddhaye, Narasimha Brahma Vidyesha Vyakhyata. And this is Narasimha Brahma Vidya. So there are some Devata Upasanas that are done just as worship of a particular energy, of a particular deity, of a particular Devata. There are some Upasanas like Shri Vidya, like Panchakshari Vidya, which are intended to be Brahma Vidya. They are intended to teach Brahman through the guise of a Devata Upasana. And especially within the Bhagavad Pada Sampradaya, that is the nature of the Narasimha Upasana. So we can be assured that when Bhagavad Pada calls on Narasimha, it is not for some Laukika Prayojana, it is not for some lower purpose, but rather it will be at a very high level. Which is why, although Bhagavad Pada prayed to Narasimha Swami for the sake of the body being quelled down, the words of the stotra were Samsara Kupamati Ghora Magadha Moolam, Samsara Sarpa Vishidigdha Mahokrativra Damshtrabhihi, Adi Dagdha Vinashtamurtehe, Samsara Bhekara Karindra Karabhighata, Samsara Vrikshamaghaveja Mananta Karma Shakhayatam, Samsara Ghora Gahane Charato Murare, Samsara Dava Dahanakula Bhekarora Jwala Valibhi, Samsara Sagara Nimajjana Muhyamanam. He says, protect me from the elephant that is samsara, protect me from the venomous serpent that is samsara, I have climbed the tree of samsara and I'm falling off. Please protect me. I am drowning in the ocean of samsara. I am like a fish that has been hooked on samsara. I am being burnt by the fire of samsara. So in each place, Bhagavatpada is asking for respite, for refuge from samsara. So Bhagavatpada is basically asking for samsara to be left behind and for Brahmajnana, for moksha to be given. Right? So even when Bhagavatpada is desiring that the body be protected, the stuti, the praise that comes out of Bhagavatpada's mouth is that pertaining to Brahma Vidya, Jnana, Moksha. Which is why there is another work. The Bhagavad has written two works in Narasimha. One of these, as we have just said, the Karunarasa Stotra, the Narasimha Karavalampana Stotra. The second one is the Lakshmi Narasimha Pancharatra. This is pure Vedanta. So, Cheto Bhringa, the refrain in all of the 5 shlokas is Cheto Bhringa Brahmasi Vritha Bhava Marubhumo Virasayam Bhaja Bhaja Lakshmi Narasimhanagha Padasarasija Makarandam. So he calls the Manas a bee. He says, oh Manas, you are a bee. You seek the nectar that lies within a lotus flower. So why are you going around? Why are you roaming around in the desert of samsara? Instead, you should seek the lotus feet of Narasimha, wherein you will find the makaranda, wherein you will find proper nectar, true nectar. Sahi Shrir Amrita Satam. Right? So that is Yasya Chhaya Amritam Yo Mrityu Mrityuho Kasmai Devaya Havisha Vidhema, says Veda. So there is a certain devata whose chaya, whose shadow itself is Amrita. That is the poetry of Veda. That Bhagavan's shadow itself is Amrita, and that Deva is Mrityu Mrityu. Those people that are acquainted with the Narasimha Vidya know the significance of the word Mrityu Mrityu when related to Narasimha. So that Amrita Swarupa, you will only find that nectar. You will only find at the feet of Narasimha and not in the desert of samsara. So, the bee of the mind, you should seek refuge only in Narasimha's lotus feet, in the Padapadmas of Narasimha. That is the other stotra that Bhagavad has written. That also is completely Vedanta. Sapne drishtam sakalam himrisha jagrati cha smara tadvaditi tava hitamekam vachanam vakshye shrunu sukhakamo yidi satatam Sapne drishtam sakalam himrisha jagriti chasmara tadvaditi cheto bhringa brahmasi vritha bhava marubhumo virasayam bhaja bhaja lakshmi narasimha nagha padasarasija makarandam. This is the 5th shloka of this Pancharatna. So Bhagavad says, O Manas, tava hitam ekam vachanam vakshe. I will tell you one sentence for your own welfare, for your own benefit. I will tell you only one sentence. I will not take up your time with long, extended upadeshas. Shrunu sukhakamo yadi satatam. If you desire eternal happiness, listen to this one thing I have to say to you. Swapne drishtam sakalam himrisha. Everything you see in a dream is mithya, right? That which is not absolutely real. Jagrati cha smara tadvaditi. Keep in mind that the vyavaharika jagat is also of the same nature. So just as the dream world, the swapna prapancha is transitory and not atyanta sat. It is not paramarthika sat. It is not truly existent because it is not present in the past, present and future. In the same way, keep in mind that this Jagrat Prapancha is also mithya. So in this way, Bhagavad has done Vedanta Vichara or Vedanta Upadesha in these 5 shlokas of the Lakshmi Narasimha Pancharatna. So as per time permits and if the occasion arises in the future, we can look at that stotra as well. So these 2 stotras Bhagavad has written on Narasimha, this Karunarasa stotra and the Lakshmi Narasimha Pancharatna. So this Karunarasa stotra, once Bhagavad praised Narasimha with the Karavalampana stotra, then Narahari Kripaya Tataf Prashante Prabalatare Sahutashane Pravishtaha. So once Bhagavad praised, immediately with Lakshmi Narasimha's kripa, the fire was subdued, the flames were quelled, and Bhagavad emerged from the cave. Niragama Dajalendra Kandaranta Vidhuriva Vaktra Bilad Vidhuntu Dasya. Bhagavad emerged unscathed, unhurt, uncharred from that cave, in the same way that the moon emerges from Rahu's mouth after an eclipse. So that is one instance where wherein Bhagavad has attained Narasimha's kripa. The second one, of course, is the very famous Ugra Bhairava Vadhaha. That is the name of the sarga. It is the 11th sarga in the Shankaradigvijaya. So here, this is set in Sri Shaila. So in the previous sarga, it ends with Pranamad Bhavabija Bharjanam, Pranamad Bhavabija Bharjanam, Pranipatyamrita Sampadarjanam, Pramamoda Samallikarjunam, Brahmaramba Sachivam Natarjunam. So Bhagavad did Namaskara to Mallikarjuna. Tiraruhaihi Krishnayas Tire Avad Sit. He resided on the bank of the Krishna Nadi that flows next to Sri Shaila. And there he wrote Bhagavad Pada, wrote Shivananda Lahari, and stayed there for a while. And one more thing that he did there was, so there is one shloka in the closing of the last, in the 10th sarga, that lays the foundation for the story of the next sarga. So there, Bhagavad Pada conquered the Shaiva Matas. So what happened? Akshipya Pashupata Vaishnava Veera Shaiva Maheshwarascha Vijitahi Sureshwaradhyahi. So Bhagavad Pada and his students, Sureshwaracharya, etc., they all defeated the Pashupatas, Vaishnavas, so all the Avaidika Matas that were there, so all the worship of Kapalika, Bhairava, all of these kinds of upasanas that were not completely in line with Veda, they were all conquered. So the people that were conquered, what happened? Kechid Visrajya Matam Atmyam Amushya Shishya Bhavangataha Vigata Matsara Manadoshaha. Some people that did not have the defects of Ahankara and Mana and Garva, they renounced the Avaidika Matas and sought refuge in Bhagavad Pada's feet and became Bhagavad Pada's disciples, Shishyas. But there was a second batch of people. Anyetu Manyuvashametya Jaganya Chittaha Ninyuhu Kshanam Nidhanamasya Nirikshamanaha. The second people who Manyuvashametya, they were overcome by anger, and Jaganya Chittaha, they were very low-minded people. What did they do? They bided their time, looking for an opportunity to kill Bhagavad Pada, looking for an opportunity for Bhagavad Pada to be finished off. That is the thought of the second people, very evil-minded men. So the people that Bhagavad Pada conquered were twofold. One type of people, one genre of people, one batch of people, they saw the error of their ways, they renounced their old mother and sought refuge in Bhagavad Pada. The second type of people, they, for namesake, accepted defeat, but bided their time waiting for Bhagavad Pada's downfall, or for Bhagavad Pada to attain calamities. So, with that framework in the back, then the next sarga starts, the Ekadasha sarga, the 11th sarga starts. Tatre kadachadita naijadoshaha paulastyavat kalpita sadhuveshaha nirmanamayam sthita karya sheshaha kapalika kaschidhanalpa doshaha. So what did he do? There was one Kapalika who was Analpa dosha. He had many defects, many flaws, many doshas within him. What did he do? Achadita naijaveshaha. He concealed his true form. Paulastyavat kalpita sadhuveshaha. So just as Ravana and Ramayana, to kidnap Sita, right, to harm Sita, he concealed his true form and put on the guise of a sadhu, right, of a bairagi, of a wandering mendicant. So he put on a sadhu vesha. So in the same way, this Kapalika also concealed his Kapalika form, which means that we will get later, he will be drunk, his eyes will be rolling, there will be bones tied to his body, there will be bhasma smeared all over his entire body. There is a certain form that we associate with the Kapalika Mata, right? So he concealed that and instead put on the guise of a sadhu. And then what did he do? He went to Bhagavad Pada and he made a request to long stuti. He tells several shlokas to Bhagavad Pada saying, you are very selfless, you do not have dehabhimana, you have conquered the attachment to the body, you have no more attachment to the body, you know that you are Atma, you know that you are not the body, you are a very great donor, you have very great dana guna, you have great karuna towards all the beings in this world. So he specifies all of these traits of Bhagavad Pada. And then in the end, the actual bomb comes, wherein he asks, there is one thing that I need. Once I did tapas for Shiva, for Bhairava, and then you will be surprised, I did tapas for 100 years and Ishvara became pratyaksha in front of me, and then I told Ishvara what I wanted. Anena dehena sahaiva gantum kailasam ishena samancha rantum Atoshayan Tivratopobhirugram Sudushkarer Abdashatam Samagram. So I want to go to Kailasa with this body. So with my mortal body, I want to attain Kailasa and attain Anandaja along with Shiva. So when I did tapas for 100 years, Ishvara came. Tushtobdaviyanmam Girishaha. So Shiva became Prasanna and appeared in front of me and told, Abhipsidam prapsisi mat priyartham. You will attain your intended desire if Juhoshi chet sarvavidash shirova Hutashane bhumipate shirova. You need to either offer into fire, you need to either offer the head of a Sarvajna or a Samrat, a king that has attained dominion over the land. So one of these two people, you need to offer their head into fire. If you do that, you will get moksha. And then he says, I have not found a Samrat of that quality, I have not found a Sarvabhauma of that quality, but I have found you today, Sarvajna. So you please give me your head so I can offer it into a fire. This is a very unfair request, and it is because he wants Bhagavad-pada's head that he had started off with saying, you are very merciful, you will give whatever anyone asks for, you have no more attachment to the body, hoping that Bhagavad-pada will have to be bound to that and will actually give the head. But one thing that he did not consider is that Bhagavad-pada was in fact that merciful, and Bhagavad-pada was in fact that detached to the body, and Bhagavad-pada was that much of a jnani where Bhagavad-pada does not really mean, he does not need this body. So Bhagavad-pada's response is, Bhagavad-pada says, Naivabhyasuyami vachastvadiyam Pritya prayachami shirosmadiyam Kovarthisat prajnatamaha nrikayan janan nakuryat Iha bahvapayam, Bhagavad-pada says. So these are the words, this is one shloka Bhagavad-pada gives as a response. Naivabhyasuya, and 2 or 3 shlokas, but this is the summation of Bhagavad-pada says. I do not, I find no fault with what you have asked me. Naivabhyasuyame vachastvadiyam. I am not angry with you for asking for my head. Pritya prayachami shurasmadiyam. I will happily give you my head. Because janan nrikayam bahvapayam. Knowing that the human body is prone to, is prone to nasha, is prone to destruction at some point, knowing that the human body will be destroyed at some point, who will not sacrifice their own body for the sake of someone else, arthisat, for the sake of someone that is asking something to them. So, with this agreement, Bhagavad-pada makes an agreement with the Kapalika that I will give you my head, no problem, but you come when I am alone. There is a particular time that I will be alone. My Shishyas will not be there. Because if my Shishyas see this, I may be okay with giving you my head, but they will not be okay with it. Because Bhagavad-pada says, Kova saheta vapureta dapohitum svam Kova kshameta nijanatha sharira moksham. Who will be able to tolerate their protector leaving their own body? So for my Shishyas, I am their refuge. So they will not be able to tolerate the fact that I will be giving up my body. So there is a particular time in which my Shishyas will not be present. You can come and take my head happily then. So then there is a particular time that they have agreed, and then the Kapalika shows up in his true form. Shuli Tripundri Puratovaloki Kankalamala Krita Gatra Bhusha Samrakta Netraha Mada Ghurnitakshaha Yogi Yayo Deshikavasa Bhumim. So that Bhairava came to Deshikavasa Bhumim, that agreed upon place where Bhagavad-pada was alone. How did he come? Shuli, he has a spear, a shula, trishula. Tripundri, he has put on the Tripundra Bhasma. Puratovaloki, he is so confident that he will get Bhagavad-pada's head that he is Puratovaloki. He is looking straight ahead. He is not looking around. He is not, unsure of whether someone is watching or not. He is not shy. He is not coy. He is very happily Puratovaloki, looking ahead and strolling into the place. Kankala mala krita gatra bhosha. He has adorned his entire body with skulls and bones. Then Samrakta Netraha, red eyes, Madagurnitaksha. He is drunk, intoxicated, and his eyes are rolling around because of that. So, in such a manner, the Kapalika came. But what did Bhagavad-pada do? So, the Bhagavad-pada saw The Kapalika saw Bhagavad Pada. So now what did Bhagavad Pada do? Because Bhagavad Pada is giving up the body, Bhagavad Pada went into Samadhi. As in he pulled out all his indriyas from the body, he merged them all into his manas, the manas merged into Brahman. And then Bhagavad Pada is now existing as Brahman, so whatever happens to the body can happen. Bhagavad Pada will not feel any pain. The manner in which Bhagavad Pada went into Samadhi is described here. As we look at these shlokas, if in mind we can keep in our mind the video, there is one small, a few second video of Yashtamaha Sannidhanamvar, Abhinav Vidyatirtha Swami in Nirvikalpaka Samadhi. So there is one video of that nature when Acharya is sitting in Padmasana with his hands like this and eyes closed in Samadhi. So if we can keep that in mind, we can know what Bhagavad Pada would have looked like in that point of time. Jatra Pradeshe Chubukan Vidhaya Vyattasya Muttanakaro Nidhaya Janu Pariprekshita Nasikantam Vilochane Sami Nimilya Kantam. Jatru Pradeshe Chubukam Nidhaya. So this is the Jatru, the collarbone. That part is the Jatru. So Jatru Pradeshe Chubukam Nidhaya means Japa is not done like this usually. The head will be slightly bent down. So not so far down as that the chin will rest on the Jatru Pradesha, on the collarbone, but a bit slightly lowered. Then Vyattasya, his face is not scrunched up or screwed up. His face is pleasant and wide. Then Vyattasya Muttanakaro Nidhaya Janupari. So he has put his hands either like this, Janupari, or we can also take it to be like this. He has placed them in his lap, or like this, on top of his knees. Janupari. Prekshita Nasikantam. As in Bhagavad Gita we said, right? Samprekshya Nasikagram Swam. Having focused the gaze upon the tip of the nose. In the same way, Bhagavad Pada also focused his gaze on the tip of the nose. Asikantam Swam. So some people say that is here, some people say that is here, the Bhrumadhyasthana. We can usually take it to be the Bhrumadhyasthana. Asikantam Swam. So Prekshita Nasikantam Bilochane Sami Nimilya Kantam. Having closed the two eyes. Asina Muchikrita Purvagatram Siddhasanam Sheshita Bodhamatram Chinmatra Vinyasta Hrisheka Vargam Samadhi Vismarita Vishwasargam. So then Asinam, he is sitting down, Uchikrita Purvagatram, the Purvagatra, so the waist up is rigid and erect. Then Siddhasanam Sheshita Bodhamatram. Siddhasanam, his asana is Siddha, it is Sthira, it is firm. So Sheshita Bodhamatram. So Bhagavad Pada is now only existent as Chaitanya, only existent as Satchidananda. So the Dehendriya, the Karyakarana Sanghata, the body-mind complex is not attached to Bhagavad Pada right now. Bhagavad Pada now currently in Samadhi only exists as Chaitanya. Chinmatra Vinyasta Hrishika Vargam. So even the Indriyas, the Hrishikas have been merged into Chaitanya and Samadhi Vismarita Vishwasargam. By virtue of his attaining Samadhi, the entire Vishwasarga, this entire creation, this entire cosmos itself was forgotten, was not in Bhagavad Pada's mind at that time. So at such a point, the Kapalika was about to kill Bhagavad Pada, and then at that point, Trishula Mudyamya Nihantukamam Gurum Yatatma Samudaikshataantah Sthitashchukopa Jwalitagnakalpas Sapadmapadas Swaguror Hitaishi. So as the Kapalika raised the Trishula to strike Bhagavad Pada's head from his shoulders, at that very second, Padmapada felt that something was wrong and Sthitaha Chukopa. He immediately flared up, Jwalitagnikalpaha, like fire. And then what happened? Smarannathaisha Smaradartihari Prahladavashyam Rahare Prahladavashyam Paramam Mahastat. He thought of a certain Tejas, of a certain Chaitanya that was beholden to Prahlada, and that removed that Chaitanya that removes the sufferings of all that worship it. Sa mantra siddho nraharehe. So having remembered that Narasimha, Padmapada is a Narasimha mantra siddha, much as Bhagavad Pada himself is. So in the previous sarga, in the place where Bhagavad Pada is asking for the flames from his own body to be quelled, there Bhagavad Pada is shown to be a great Narasimha Pasaka. Here Bhagavad Pada's Shishya, Padmapada is also shown to be a very great Narasimha Pasaka. Nraharer mantra siddha. He is a mantra siddha of the Narasimha mantra. So what does that mean? It means that he has attained mastery over the mantra. Generally speaking, he has finished Purascharana, and the Devata comes when called. That is generally what Mantra Siddhi refers to. Nrasimho Bhutva, he became Narasimha. Dadarsha Ugradariha Cheshtam, and he saw the evil act that was happening in front of his Guru. So this is one thing that we'll see in the next shloka. Satat kshanakshubdha nijasvabhavaha pravruddharut vismrita martya bhavaha avishkatatyugra nrasimha bhavaha samutpapata aturita prabhavaha. Satat kshanakshubdha nijasvabhavaha. At that very second, his entire manas was kshubdha, which means it was agitated. Pravruddharut, with his anger flared up. Vismrita martya bhavaha. He forgot that he was human. Padmapada forgot that he was human. Avishkrita atyugra nrasimha bhavaha. He immediately underwent, or he immediately showed Nrasimha bhava. He immediately became Narasimha. Samutpapata, and he leapt up. Atulita prabhavaha. With asamana prabhava, which means Shakti, Tejas, with unseen, unheard of Shakti, power. Immediately Padmapada leapt up, becoming Narasimha, to go to the place where his Guru was in an apada, was in a state of calamity. So this is one very interesting form of bhakti that you will only find in Advaita. This is Advaita bhakti, wherein you will have Bhramara Ketanyaya. So what is this Bhramara Ketanyaya? Bhramara is, you can take it to be a butterfly here. Kita is the worm, right? The caterpillar that goes into the chrysalis. So what happens is, the caterpillar forms a chrysalis, right? It goes into the shelter that it itself weaves, and it goes there and meditates upon becoming a butterfly, and by the time it emerges from the chrysalis, it has become a butterfly. So in Advaita, we use the same thing to show that meditation upon a certain entity will cause unity with that entity. So here, because Padmapada has done such upasana of Narasimha, he became Narasimha. See, Padmapada, Narasimha Avesha means Padmapada was not still Padmapada. Padmapada became Narasimha. We will see later. He grows a mane, he has nails, he has fangs, right? There is a tongue flicking in and out. So the Narasimha Rupa also Padmapada gets. This is possible because of the Advaita Bhakti. And once Padmapada became Narasimha and leapt up, Satat Chata Spotita Megha Sangha, Tivraravatrasita Bhuta Sangha, Samvega Samurchita Loka Sangha, Kimeta Ditya Kula Deva Sangha, Kshubhyat Samudram Samudoda Raudram, Ratan Nishatam, Spotadadrikutam, Jalad Dishantam, Prachalad Dharantam, Prabrashya Daksham, Dalad Antariksham, Javad Abhidrutya Shitaswarugray, Daityeshwarasya Pura Nakhagraihi, Kshipat Trishulasya Satasya Vaksho, Dadara Vikshipta Surari Pakshaha. So the nice thing about, we can see here in Vidyaranya Swami's Kavya is that the language used. So when Narasimha is, Vijrumbhana is happening, when Narasimha is leaping forth to tear apart a dushta, to tear apart a foe, what is the kind of language that should be used? We see here. Kshubhyat samudram samudoda raudram ratan nishatam spotadadrikotam jalad dishantam prachalad dharantam prabhrashya daksham daladantariksham. That is the kind of language that needs to be used when you want Virarasa. So Satat Chata Spotita Megha Sangaha. His mane was sending the clouds hither and thither. Tivraravatrasita Bhuta Sangha. When Narasimha roared, every single living being was struck with fear. Samvega Samurchita Loka Sangha. Kimeta Dityakula Deva Sangha. The Devatas are bewildered. They are like, what is happening? What is the cause of all of this tumult? Kshubhyat Samudram, the ocean started churning. Samudoda Raudram, Raudra Rasa was on full display. He had Samudoda Raudram, he had taken upon Raudra Rasa. Ratan Nishatam, Rakshasas started wailing. Sputad Adrikutam, the peaks of mountains started trembling. Jalad Dishantam, the direction started burning. Prachalad Dharantam, the earth started trembling. Prabhrashya Daksham, everyone that was watching, the eyes were blinded. Dalad Antariksham, the sky itself was reverberating and almost cracking. The sky was cracking with the ferocity that Narasimha Swami showed at that particular point in time. Javad Abhidrutya, with great speed, Narasimha leapt up, Shitaswarugreihi Nakhagreihi, with his adamantine nails, with his claws that were as sharp as the Vajra Yudha. he tasya vaksha dadara kshipat trishulasya. Even as the Kapalika was about to throw the trishula, vaksho dadara, he ripped apart that Kapalika's chest. Daityeshwarasya pura. Just as in Kritayuga, he had ripped apart Hiranyakashipu's chest, in the same way Narasimha leapt up and ripped apart the Kapalika's chest. Then Tattadriga Tyugra Nakhayudagreha Donshtragra Prota Donshrantada Prota Duriha Deha Ninne Tadanin Raharir Vidirna Dupatranata Likamattahasam. So immediately, once he ripped that apart, he pulled out the intestines, put it into his around his neck. He Donshtrantara Prota Duriha Deha. He stabbed the prota. Literally means it is stuck, it is pierced with. He pierced the Kapalika's body onto his fangs. Right, so sometimes you'll see, right, there will be a thing that people will stick papers onto. Like that, onto his fang, the entire Kapalika's body was stuck. And then at that point in time, Narasimha roared. He let out an attahasa. So there is a hasa, a smile, a laugh. A darahasa, a slight laugh. A mandahasa, a slight smile. This is an attahasa, which means a bellowing laugh. It is a laugh that lets loose. That is not a small, genteel, coy laugh. This is a laugh that is a pealing laugh. And a laugh that is usually done when you have lost control. So that kind of a laugh, that is basically a roar, came forth from Narasimha. And then, in that case, Bhagavat Pada came out of Samadhi. But before that happened, all the other Shishyas, right, Sanandana, Sureshwaracharya, Totagacharya, Hastamalakacharya, all the other Shishyas heard this roar and they came running to this spot. They saw the Bhairava lying dead on the ground. They saw Bhagavat Pada sitting in Samadhi and they saw Narasimha there. So now what we need to kind of understand is not said here, but what we need to understand kind of is that Narasimha Avesha happened on Padmapada and Padmapada became Narasimha. Now Narasimha left Padmapada's body, so now Padmapada is still standing there as Padmapada. But the Narasimha form is standing there separately. So then they asked Padmapada, the other students, Padmapada's fellow students, asked him, Prahladavashyo Bhagavan. Even during Narasimha Avardhara, Bhagavan did not listen to anyone except Prahlada. Brahma, Rudra, Indra, all the devatas went and prayed. But Bhagavan did not become prasanna to any of them. He was only beholden to Prahlada. So Prahlada Vashya Bhagavan Katham va tvaya prasaditaha ayan Harihi. So how was such a Narasimha? How did he come when you called? How did he become beholden to you? So they asked him this. And then Padmapada tells them a beautiful story in response. Purakilaham balabhudharagre punyam samashritya kimapyaranyam bhaktayekavashyam bhagavantamenam dhyayan anekan divasan anaisham. This is Pura Balabhudaragre on the Ahobila Parvata. I sat there for many years doing dhyana of Narasimha. And in that point in time, Kimarthamego girigahvaresmin vachayyamatvam vasatiti shashvat kenapi prishtotra kirata yuna. So then, once a forester, a young forester, an adolescent, so still teenager we can say, one forester came by, one hunter came by, a young hunter, an adolescent hunter came by and asked me, Swami, Vachanyama, O ascetic, O Muni, Ekaha, alone, Gahvare, in a cave, why are you sitting alone? What are you seeking that you are sitting here alone in a cave for all of these years? So that adolescent hunter asked me thus, I replied, because it is a hunter that is asking, Padmapada Acharya replied in the hunter's language. So if he says Bhagavan, Upasana, Dhyana, Japa, Tantra, Anganyasa, Karanyasa, the hunter will be confused. So he replied in the hunter's language. Akantha matyadbhuta martyamurtihi kanthiravatma paratascha kaschita mrugo vanesmin mrugayo vasan me bhavatyaho rakshipathe kadapi. So he says, there is a particular animal I am looking for. Because he is a hunter, right? The hunter looks for animals. So Padmapada replies, there is a particular animal I am looking for. And seeking that animal, I am living in this forest, in this cave alone. And what is the lakshana of that animal? Agantha matyadbhuta martyamurti. This animal is human until the throat. Kanthiravatma paratascha kaschitam. And beyond the throat, it is a lion. So that is the animal I am seeking. It is told that it lives in this forest. Mrige asmin vane mrigayaha vasan. Mrigaha asmin vane mrigayaha vasan. So such an animal exists in this very forest. Have you never seen it? So once he asked the hunter this way, immediately, the very second I gave that forester this response, he went, Vanocharoyam pravishya vanantam. Vanacharoyam pravishan vanantam. That hunter immediately entered the forest. Vibadhya gadhan raharim latabhif punyai raganyai puratonyadhan me. That hunter immediately entered the forest, went, tied up Narasimha with creepers and put him in front of me. This is a very surprising thing, because that is why Vidyaranya Swami says it is not just creepers and vines that Narasimha had been tied with, but punyaihi aganyaihi. He was bound by the punya of that hunter. And immediately, just as we were all surprised, Padmata Padacharya was also surprised. Where is Narasimha Swami? Where is this hunter? Where are these feeble, flimsy creepers and vines? How has that hunter tied up Narasimha Swami with vines? So first of all, as we said before, Prahlada Vashya Bhagavan. This Bhagavan did not even listen to Rudra and Brahma. He seeks only people like Prahlada. So how was a hunter able to tie him? And Narasimha Swami is just sitting there tied up looking around. And it is not like he is even putting up a fight. So immediately Padmapada asks, Maharshibhistvam manasapyagamyaha. Maharshis cannot even fathom you by thought. Forget about seeing you and tying you. Maharshis cannot even fathom you by thought. Their tattva. They cannot even conceptualize you. Vanecharasyeva katham vashaha bhuhu. How did you get tied up by this hunter? So, ityadbhuta vishtahruda mayaso vijnapyamanaha vibhuhu ityavadit. So, when I pleaded with Narasimha in this way, Narasimha Swami gave the response there, Ekagra chittena yatha munaham dhyataha tatha dhatrumukhairna purvaihi. This hunter was so focused on me. Even Brahman was not, even Chaturmukha Brahma and all the other devatas also, they were not as focused, single-mindedly focused on me as this hunter was. Because basically what happened, the hunter asked, what are you looking for? And Padmapada did Rupa Upadesha. Right? He told him the Dheya Murti, that it is human until the neck and lion up top. So the hunter now has a Dheya Murti in his mind. And that hunter was so single-mindedly focused on achieving and finding and seeing that one thing that filled his heart. And there is no greater dhyana than thinking of one thing without interruption. Right? So, Sajatiya Pratyaya Dhara it is called. So, the same thought should be running in the mind without interruption. That is dhyana. So, here what happened was that hunter has now gotten a form in his mind and is only thinking of that and is only seeking to find that, to see that in front of his eyes. So, and because he had such clean faith, if that person said there is such an animal here, there is an animal here. There is no doubt, is there Narasimha, is there not Narasimha, did he make this animal up? They will say it is Narasimha, will it actually be Narasimha, must be some other animal. None of this doubt was there in that hunter's heart. With the utmost bhakti and simplicity, with the utmost purity of mind and the utmost shraddha, he did dhyana of me in a way that not even Chaturmukha Brahma did. And this is a very strong statement, because Chaturmukha Brahma is the drashta of many Narasimha mantras. Many Narasimha mantras, Brahma is the Rishi. Brahma, Rishi, we'll get Gayatri, Chandaha, Anushtup, Chanda, all of that we'll get later. But Brahma, Rishi, Brahma is the Rishi for most of the Narasimha mantras. So even the drashta of my mantra has not been able to meditate upon me as single-mindedly as this hunter did. So that is what Narasimha told Padmapadacharya. So when Padmapadacharya was thus told by Narasimha Swami, then Narasimha Swami then said, do not fear, because even if you have seen me now, it is because of your tapas. So now I will give you one vara, that Kritva prasadam kritavastirodhim nopalabhethastvam. So even you, O Padmapada, did not have such dhyana towards me. But still, Kritva prasadam, that Bhagavan still graced me, and Kritavan tirodhim. And then he attained Antardhana, he disappeared from sight. So after this, all the Shishyas that were listening to the story were very happy. They were all Ananda Magnair Akhilaira Bhavi. They were all exceedingly happy. But as you said before, Narasimha Swami left Padmapada, but he did not leave that vicinity. Immediately, Jagarja Jocher, Jagadanda Bhandam, Bhumna Swadhamna, Dalayan Narasimha. Immediately, Narasimha roared. And at that point, what happened? Tatastadarbhat chalat samadhi swatmavabodhon mathitat unmilya netre vikarala vaktram yalokayan manava panchavaktam. So when Narasimha roared the first time, the Shishyas came running. The second time Narasimha roared, it shook Bhagavad Pada out of samadhi. Tatastad arbhata chalat samadhi. So in Telugu this is called hadavidi, arbhata. There is the commotion caused Bhagavad Pada to slip out of samadhi. Swatmava bodhon mathitripadhi unmilya netre. He opened his eyes, and what did he see before him? Vikarala vaktram yalokayan manava panchavaktam. Manava means human, panchavaktra means lion. So he saw Narasimha in front of him, Vikarala vaktram, with a very fearsome face. He saw Narasimha in front of him. And there are some shlokas. We will not go through the meaning of every single shloka, but just the Rupa Varnana that is done there is very nice. Chandramshu Sodarya Satajatalam Tartiya Netrabja Kananyatalam Sahodya Dushnamshu Sahasrabhasam Vidhyanda Vispota Kradattahasam Nakhagra Nirbhinna Kapali Vakshas Thalachala Chonita Pankilankam Shrivatsa Lakshan Galavai Jayanti Shriratna Samspardhita Nantramalam Surasuratrasa Karati Ghora Swakara Sara Vidhitanda Kosham Naushtra Karalana Niryadagni Jwala Samlid Nabhovakasham Sarova Kupodgata Vispulinga Praroha Prachara Sandipita Sarvalokam Jambhadvidu Jurumhita Shambho Dambha Samstambha Narambhaka Dantapesham Mabhuda Kande Pralayo Mahatman Kopan Niyacheti Granadbhirarat Sasadhasaif Pranjalibhis Sagatra Kampaihi Virinchiadhir Arthyamanam Vilokya Vidyut Chapalagrajahvam Yatikshiteshaf Purato Nrasimham Abhitiraidishta Aidishta Abhitiraidishta Tadopakandham Sthitopi Harsha Ashurpinadha Kanthaha. That is the Rupa that Bhagavad Pada saw in front of him. White like the moon, a third eye on the forehead. In the same way, shining with the light and the luster of 1,000 suns, with a roar that split the entire Brahmanda, with the lap being splattered with the blood of the Kapalika, with the Shrivatsa birthmark on the left chest, and Vaijayanti Mala and Kaustubha around his neck, along with the intestines, the entrails of the Kapalika, with sparks of fire emitting from every one of his hairs, with the fire that is born of the clashing of his fangs. So when the fangs clash together, sparks are flying. With those sparks, the flames of those sparks is filling the entire sky. And the Devatas are begging him, Mabhud Akande Pralayam Mahatman, do not unleash the Pralaya early, Mahatma. Kopam Niyacha, please restrain your anger. Do not let the end of the world come early. Do not let Pralaya happen early. Thus, Brahma and all the other Devatas, Sagatra Kampai, they are trembling, Pranjalibhi. They have folded their hands, Asadhvasehi. They are terrified and are begging him to restrain his anger. So in this way, even though Bhagavad Pada saw such a fearsome form of Narasimha in front of him, Abhitihi Aidishta. He was not afraid. He was very calm, cool. He was not at all perturbed. And then Harshashru Pinadha Kantha. He was in fact very happy, and tears of joy were coming. And then there is a long stuti that Bhagavad Pada does here. Narahare harakopamanarthadam tava ripur nihato bhuvivartate kuru kripam mayi deva sanatanim jagadidam bhayameti bhavadrisha. Narasimha Swami Bhagavan, please restrain your anger. Your enemy has been killed, right? The Kapalika has been killed. Please attain mercy, and please show your mercy to this world. Jagadidam bhayameti bhavadrisha. This world is terrified at your sight. So please restrain yourself. And then there is a lot of stuti that is done here. Smritavatas tava padasaroruham mritavatas purushasya vimuktata So anyone that even thinks of you before they die, it is said that that person will attain moksha. Then tava karabhihito tava karabhihataha amrita bhairavaha nahisa eva punar bhavameshyati. So if just thinking of your feet before they die, before dying gives moksha, then this Kapalika who is killed by you himself, he will surely not have the need to be born again. He will attain moksha. Srijazi Vishwam idam rajasavrataha. You take upon the Rajoguna to do the Srishti of this world. Sthitividho Shritasatva Udayudha Avasi. Taking upon Sattva Guna, you protect this world, having various ayudhas, various weapons in your hand. Tadharane tamasavritaha harasi devatada harasanyataha. In order to dissolve this world, you take upon the name of Hara, take upon Tamoguna, and then you commit the dissolution of this world. So you have taken upon this Rajas, Sattva and Tamoguna, but Tava Janirna Gunastava Tattvataha. But in reality, you are the Paramatma that is untouched by Nama, Rupa and Guna. Tava Janirna. You actually are never born. You are without birth. You are Anadi. Gunastava na Tattvataha. You actually also do not have any connection with the gunas. You take upon them of your own will, but you of yourself do not have any connection with the gunas. Jagad anugrahanaya bhavadikam. If you take form, it is only to do anugraha to this world. It is only to grace this world. Tava padam khalu vangmanasatigam. Your state, padam, your state, your being, your sthana, your plane of existence is vangmanasatigam. It transcends speech and mind. Shrutivachaschakitanava bodhakam. So then how it is that we are supposed to know you, O Brahman, that is Narasimha? Shrutivachaschakitanava bodhakam. Shruti talks about you. Shruti speaks of you. And even then Shrutihi chakitam. Shrutivachaha chakitam. Even Veda itself is awestruck at how it is supposed to describe Brahman. Right? And then he says, Narahare tava nama parishravat pramatha guhyaka dushta pishachakaha apasaranti vibho asuranayakaha nahi purasthitaye prabhavantyami. Narasimha, as soon as they hear your name, prashachas, bhutas, yakshas, rakshasas, asuras, they all flee. They do not have the power to stand even in front of someone that tells your name. So Narasimha is not just the Brahman that gives us jnana and moksha, but Narasimha is the greatest raksha kavacha, the greatest protection that anyone can ask for in this world. There is no Shakti in this world that can stand before Narasimha Raksha, that can pass through Narasimha Raksha. If Narasimha is our kavacha, there is no force that can pass through it, which is why Narasimha kavacha is very important. And the name Narasimha itself, Jaya Jaya Narasimha, is a very potent name that is very, it is a mantratmaka that anyone can tell. Jaya Jaya Narasimha, Jaya Jaya Narasimha is a mantra that everyone can tell. The same way we have Shri Rama Jaya Jaya Rama, Namah Shivaya, Shri Matre Namaha. The way that these are all mantras that anyone can do. Jaya Jaya Narasimha, Jaya Jaya Narasimha, Jaya Narasimha. These are all actually, the Jaya Narasimha is a mantra that anyone can do. It is a Nama mantra that anyone can do. So that is why actually even Annamacharya, who himself was a very great Narasimha Pasaka, has written a song called Jaya Jaya Narasimha Sarvesha Bhayahara Veera Prahlada Varada. So the name Prahlada Varada repeats in this song at the end of every charana, because it is nice to remind Narasimha that is Prahlada Varada, because this is one avatara wherein the bhakta is as important, if not more important than Narasimha. So in all the places we say Krishna Leela, or we say Bhagavata when it is Krishna Leela, or we say Ramayana when it is Rama's Leela. But for whatever reason, Narasimha's story is not Narasimha Charitra, it is Prahlada Charitra. So in this case, it is the bhakta that is more important. Bhagavan had such love for the bhakta in that avatara. So Bhagavan likes it if we call him by the bhakta's name, which is why we say Prahlada Varada Govinda, not Narasimha Rupa Govinda. We say Prahlada Varada Govinda. In the same way, here also Annamacharya puts Prahlada Varada, but he also embeds this particular Nama mantra into the song. Jaya Jaya Nrasimha Sarvesha. So in the middle of that you have Jaya Nrasimha, Jaya Nrasimha, Jaya Nrasimha, Jaya Nrasimha. Whenever we find ourselves against troubles, whenever we find ourselves against Dushta Shaktis, whenever we are afraid, whenever we desire protection, anyone, everyone, anywhere can do japa of this Nama mantra called Jaya Narasimha as per Mantra Shastra. So that is what Bhagavad Pada is saying here. Tava Nama Parishravat. It is enough if your name is heard. Every single Dushta Shakti that exists will flee. Nahi Purasthitaye Prahavanti. They will not even be able to stand in front of someone that trembles, that does japa of your name. And then there is this one shloka that we all can tell as prarthana, and that we can sometimes even hear our acharyas tell after the Narasimha Jayanti Puja. So after our acharyas do the Narasimha Jayanti Puja, it is custom that the Narasimha Avirbhava Adhyaya from Bhagavata is chanted. So Acharya will read that 1/8, the Saptama Adhyaya from the Saptama Skandha of Bhagavata. Saptama Adhyaya or Ashtama Adhyaya? I think Ashtama Adhyaya of Bhagavata. Parayana will be done by Acharya. After that is done, in some occasions, Acharya will also read some shlokas from this Sarga from Shankaradigvijaya. One of those shlokas, if Acharya reads those shlokas, one of those shlokas is this. Tvameva sargasthiti heturasya, tvameva neta nrahare khilasya, tvameva chintyo hridaye navadye, tvameva chinmatramaham prapadye. So we are doing prapatti to Narasimha, we are doing sharanagati, we are seeking his refuge in Narasimha. And on top of that, we are saying tvameva, we are seeking refuge in only you, no one else. Tvameva sargasthiti heturasya. Narasimha, you are the Brahman that is the cause of the Srishti, Sthiti and Pralaya of these three worlds. Tvameva neta nrahare khilasya. You are Sarveshwara, you are the Ishvara, you are the master of everyone. There is no one greater than you. Tvameva chintyaha hridaye navadye. You are the only thing, you are the only entity that should be that is meditated upon in a pure heart. Anavadye hridaye tvameva chintyaha. You alone should be meditated upon by a pure heart. So therefore, chinmatram tvam, I do sharanagati to you, I do prapatti to you, who is of the nature of Shuddha Chaitanya, Chinmatram, pure Chaitanya, whose essence is pure Chaitanya, I do Sharanagati to you. So, with that stuti, Bhagavad Pada did Prapatti, Sharanagati, Stuti, Stotra of Narasimha. And with that, just as then, Narasimha, who did not become Prasanna even when Brahma and Rudra did Stuti, in Bhagavata, how Narasimha became Prasanna to Prahlada, here also, Narasimha immediately became Prasanna the second that Bhagavad Pada did Stotra, did Anugraha and attained Tirodhi. Means he disappeared from that spot. Evam Vishishta Nutibhir Nraharau Prashante. So as Narasimha calmed down with all of these stotras, Swambhavametya Muniresha Vabhuva Shantaha. Padmapada also, upon whom this Narasimha Avesha had happened, he also attained his normal state of mind and his normal human nature. And Swapnanubhutamiva Shantamanaha Smaran. Everything that happened, so we will sometimes get the question, right? So did Padmapada remember everything that happened when he was Narasimha or when Narasimha Avesha happened? It says here that he remembered everything as though it were a dream. So remembering all of that, Atmanam Atma Gurave Pranatim Chakara. Remembering that this grace of Narasimha that Padmapada has attained is because of the Guru Kripa. Knowing that it is the Guru's grace. Remember, in Mantra Shastra, it is Sampradaya that the Guru, Devata and the mantra itself, the Shabda Swarupa of the mantra, all these three are said to be one. The mantra, the Guru and the Devata, these three are non-different. We should not see any bheda between these. The Guru is that Devata. So for example, if it is Narasimha's mantra in question, the Guru is Narasimha. And the Narasimha mantra is not some prayer to Narasimha. It is not a sound used to worship Narasimha, but that is the sonic form of Narasimha. That is a bhavana that should be there, and that is also the Vastasthiti. It is when Brahman takes upon a Rupa, it takes upon the Rupa of Narasimha. When Shabda Brahman takes upon a Rupa, it takes upon the Rupa of the Narasimha mantra. That is the kind of samanvaya that we need to do with any mantra. So when Brahman takes upon the form of Shiva, the Shabda Brahman takes upon the form of the Shiva mantra. When Brahman takes upon the form of Devi, Shabda Brahman takes upon the form of Devi as the Devi mantra, as Sri Vidya. So in the same way here, the mantra is also the form of Bhagavan itself, and the Guru is also Bhagavan. So it is a reminder to us to keep in mind that any progress that we may seem to have in our sadhana, is attributed only and completely to the Pada Padmas of the Guru, who gave us the Mantropadesha with the utmost mercy. So it is for that reason that after all of this was over, Padmapada, the first thing that he did was Atmanam Smaran Atmagurave Pranatin Chakara. He did namaskara to Atmaguru, the Guru who taught him about Atman. Or we can take Atmaguru means his own Guru. We can also take Atmaguru as in the Guru that teaches about the Atma. So he did namaskara to that Guru. So that is where the story ends. This is the only sarga in Shankaradigvijaya for which Vidyaranya Swami has written a pratyeka phalashruti. Only this sarga has a special phalashruti. No other sarga in the Madhavi Digvijaya has that, because there is a certain crescendo. There is a certain peak that is reached in this sarga, and also it is a very divya ghatta. In no other sarga does Bhagavan appear of his own volition to protect Bhagavat Pada. So therefore Vidyaranya Swami writes a phalashruti here. Charityamedat pathatas prayata charityamedat prayatas trisandhyam bhaktya pathedyah shrunuyad avanyam tirtvapamrityum pratipadya bhaktim sabhukta bhogaha samupaiti muktim. Is a shloka that Vidyaranya Swami wrote there. Yaha, anyone that trisandhyam bhaktya pathati, someone that reads through this charitra, this sarga, this happening of Narasimha, the Kapalika and Bhagavat Pada, anyone that reads this trisandhyam in the morning, evening and afternoon, prayataha, with proper shuddhi and all, with proper drishti and with proper shraddha, bhaktya, with devotion, someone that does parayana of this, that reads this 3 times a day, or shrunyadva, or someone that hears this, saha, such a person, apamrityum tirtva, he will cross over untimely death. So death will not touch him at the improper time. He will have a dirghayu, basically. Pratipadya bhaktim, he will attain great bhakti. Sabhukta bhogaha, he will attain all bhogas in this world. He will be very comfortable in this world. He will have all the luxuries in this world. And samupaiti muktim, in due course of time, this bhakti will give birth to vairagya. Vairagya will help with jnana, and all the upasanas will also help there. And in time, with this jnana, moksha will be attained. That is the phalashruti of this adhyaya. So with namaskara to that Narasimha, who is the Aradhya Devata or Jagadguru. So Narasimha is one of the Pradhana Devatas of the Pitha. Every day when our Acharyas do Chandramulishwara Puja, next to Chandramulishwara will be a Sri Chakra Shila and a Narasimha Salagrama. The japa of the Narasimha mantra is a very important part of Acharya's daily anushtanas. So Narasimha is a very important Devata to our Pitha, which is why we have Narasimha Bharati, Satchidananda Shiva Narasimha Bharati, Simhagiri. So Narasimha is also present in the names of at least 5 or 6 of the Acharyas of this Pitha. So with namaskaras to the Pada Padmas of that Lakshmi Narasimha, who is visible to us as the Acharyas of our Pitha, and who protects us as a Raksha Kavacha to this day. In Narayana Kavacha and Bhagavata it comes in the Narayana Kavacha. So how should Narasimha protect us? Vidikshu dikshurdhva madhas samanta dantar bahir Bhagavan Narasimha prahapayan lokabhayam svayena svaterasa grasta samasta tejaha. Beautiful shloka in Bhagavata. Vidikshu dikshu, in all the directions. Urdhva madha, above and below. Samantat, all around us. Antar bahir Bhagavan Narasimha, stated within and without us. Narasimha needs to be there protecting us. How should he protect us? Lokabhayam svanena prahapayan. With his roar, he drives away all the fears that we can have. Svaterasa grasta samasta tejaha. With his splendor, he surpasses all other tejas, all other lights, all other luminaries in this world. The Surya, Chandra, Agni, no other luminary can even come close to the splendor of Narasimha. So that is how we want Narasimha to protect us. So may that Narasimha that is dedicated to protecting us and giving us jnana, the jnana avatara of Vishnu, may that Narasimha protect us, and may the blessings of the Acharya, and may we offer namaskaras to the Acharyas, who are those Nrisimhopasakam Nityam, who are the Upasakas of said Narasimha in our parampara, the parampara of Nrisimhopasakas that we have as the Sringeri Jagadgurus, offering our namaskaras to their feet. Wishing you all once more a very happy Narasimha Jayanti. Lakshmi Nrasimha Mamadehi Karavalambam. Ityesha Vanmayi Puja Shrimad Shankarapadayur Pita Tena Deveshah Priyatam Me Sadashivaha तव तत्त्वन्न जानामि कीदृशोऽसि महेश्वर यादृशोऽसि महादेव तादृशाय नमो नमः मङ्गलं स्तम्भडिम्बाय मङ्गलं मृत्युमृत्यवे मङ्गलं रौद्ररूपाय नारसिंहाय मङ्गलम्